This week on SV Lynx. Welcome to this week's SV Lynx video. Last week was a hull of a week where the guys were working mostly in the hulls. This week we're going to do some sole work and some other special projects that we're going to get to.
Yeah, we're getting started on something new, and it's very exciting stuff. So we can't wait to show you. So let's get right to work. Monday morning after a somewhat rainy weekend. The good news is that this time not a drop of water got anywhere inside the boat. We sealed it up really well. So that allowed us to get right to work here. And what we're doing here is that we put tape on the bottom of these and got the holes drilled through these. We're going to fill these with thickened epoxy right now. It's going to be it's thickened, but it's going to be a fairly loose mixture so that it'll pour in here and not leave any voids at all. And these are the inspection ports for the black and gray water tanks. And so they're going to have a seal on the bottom of this eventually. Now these are the pieces that we made already that we'll glue onto the bottom of the sole. And then these will drop down and go onto, this is the one for this one. These will drop down and the sole will be up around here. And we have flathead screws for the top, so all good there. Once these are set up, we'll re-drill through them for the size of the bolt. And then we can use that to drill down through these ones to mark where each one of these goes. And then we'll have to core out this side and leave the fiberglass and fill these with a thinner epoxy, and then set with the bolts already in here and nuts, set this down onto here and let it just set up like that so that the nuts are lined properly for the bolts. And when that's all set up, we can back the bolts out. They'll be coated in white grease so they won't stick. And at that point, we can glue this to the bottom of the sole, put our nitrile rubber seal on there, and be able to seal this up. Now we do have to put coatings of clear resin on here, so because this is too rough for the good seal, so we'll put coatings of resin on here so that the nitrile rubber has a great smooth surface to bond to this side as well. So we'll coat both of those. Anyway, that's the whole shebang to make all these inspection ports. And these are the 6, 3 on each side for the port and starboard soles in the hallway area there. Actually, these will be inside the heads. So that's what we're up to. And that's what these things look like. They're all set and ready to roll. Brian's mixing up some epoxy for me right now. And as soon as that's done, I will get to work. Now all these holes are filled. We're doing the edges of the other portions here. So we cord them out and putting a hard edge on there. So I've got all these edges filled in on all 6. Got all those. So we'll let this set up, and we'll move on to the next job. We've got to go take a look at the holes, because I'm considering putting in some treasure chests or sump boxes to cut down on the number of through holes. So we're going to take a look at possibilities for doing that. Got our rudders out because although we've put basalt around this direction, we have to still cap the ends here, and because you can see here, it's a little bit showing there, but this just wasn't gonna cover around the ends and such, so we already knew that. So we always knew we were going to be capping these eventually. So we got one here, and we've got one over here ready to go, all sanded up and ready for our caps to go on. So Brian's over here about to wet out all the little cap pieces, and just getting started on that now. And then we'll go ahead and put these on. And once these caps are done, we'll be ready to fair and sand and paint these rudders, and they'll be finished. The reason we're adding these ones wrapping around the end, because this was actually not too bad, but if you think about the bottom of this rudder is the most likely to rub on something. For example, if we keep the rudders down in shallow sandy area and they happen to scrape into the sand, and that's just the part that's going to scrape. So we really wanted the bottom of this to have extra layers anyway. So this extra basalt here will give it a little bit more rub ability there. I had a change of plans. We were supposed to work on the inspection port lids for the soles, but the epoxy we put on them late in the afternoon yesterday is not set up still because it was cold all night. So we've got them out in the warming sun, so hopefully they'll set up eventually, but that's going to delay working on that. So we had to shift gears as to what we're going to do, but we still need to sand and fair this new fiberglassing work we did up on the top of the cockpit ceiling. So that's what we're up to.
Well, we're tired of sanding overheads. We're taking a break from that. So instead of doing nothing, we're going to the bow of the boat and we're working on the catwalk. This is one of the big catwalk pieces there. It's a triangle. This is one of the two sides of that triangle, and there's a flat piece on top. But we have to cut out two of these beams around the shape of our forebeam. And so what we did is we created ourselves a little template and made sure that this little piece fit up there nicely. Now we've duplicated this section of this piece of catwalk, because we don't want to cut that wrong. That's a hard to replace piece that we're running low on, especially this thick and that long. We still have left. But if we screw that up, we'd be in a world of hurt. So instead, what we're doing now is we just use some board here to make two versions of that. We're going to cut both of these out. We're going to take these up there and make sure that this V fits onto that forebeam with these two before we cut the real one. So that's what's going on. That's our template. It does fit on the board, and now we just use the same template on here. And now we're going to cut these.
And this is why we're using MDF for this testing. We had to add some back in, so we duct tape it on, cut the piece and duct taped it back on, so we can test again. All right, let's test on this side. All right, test number 3. Okay. So we have a fit. Good thing we did the MDF. You can see right here, this was the original line we drew, and it really needs to be here. So we redrew it based on our MDF. We put it on here and redrew the line so that it fits now. And now we'll, with fairly good confidence, we're going to go ahead and cut these out. Now, before we cut the second one, we'll test the real thing. And now for the real thing. This looks good. Looks good. Okay, down. Successful test. We did it right. So now what we're going to do is duplicate this on the other one. We got a shipment in from Selden today. So I'm going to take a look at it. Probably the main thing is that we got the jib track in, and we ordered that from Selden because Garhauer doesn't make self-tacking jibs. They do mainsails, and that's what we got from them on the mainsail track. But for the jib track, we ordered that from Selden over in Europe. And just to annoy me endlessly, the tariffs that our current president has put on, this is a $5,000 order from Selden. The tariffs were $1,800 to get this in. Ouch! So let's see what we got here. I'm going to have to open that up to find out, but I'm going to guess that that is the car. Go ahead and open that. And these look like probably the ends of the jib track, I'm going to guess. Yep. So these will go on the end over here. And we also have another winch. We had to order another winch because turns out that, and I didn't know this, but our mast has a mount for a winch on it, and I didn't know that because I haven't really unpacked the mast. And I found out in talking to the guys over at Schoenig that I needed another winch for the mounts to the mast, so that's what this was for. Now this is another electric motor, and I decided since I was already sending for another winch, I would go ahead and get another electric motor, but not going to go on this winch. This is going to be manual on the mast. There's no room for an electric motor on that. We're going to add this one to the helm, and so we'll have 2 electric winches at the helm and 1 manual to start with. Now eventually I'll order 2 more of these and add them to the winches that are going to go to the stern on either side. But we're going to start out with those being manual, and then we'll add the electric motors later. So it looks like we've got the car here. So there we go. That's the car. And they've got it on a little piece of fake track there to keep the ball bearings from falling out, I would guess. All right, well, that goes with that. And this is the one on the other end of it. The track. What else we got? These must be to do with attaching the track. Let's see what else we have. Oh, we've got our winch handles. Well, I told you we have 3 manual winches. Well, we've got 3 winch handles, one for each. And the reason for that is I want to be able to have one up at the helm, and I want to have one on the starboard and one on the port right by those winches, so we needed 3. What's in here? These are communication cables for the electric winch system. And this is probably the brains for it, for the winch. Motor control unit for the winch. We have one of these for each of the winches that are electric. All right, well, that's what we got from Selden. And yes, that's $5,000 worth plus $1,800, so nearly $7,000 with the tariffs and taxes in there. Like I say, ouch! Boat stuff, not cheap ever. But looks like a nice piece of equipment. Should work great. Selden makes awesome stuff. We're happy with both our Selden hardware and our Garhauer hardware. They're both excellent equipment. We got as far as we wanted to progress on the catwalk up front because it's sunny out there. And we'll wait until the cooler morning and progress that some more tomorrow. But we're not done today. Today, we've been sanding on these support beams that we put on the cabin top. So we took off all the high rough stuff, but they need fairing. And so Brian's mixing up some very creamy thickened epoxy right now, and I'm going to start putting some fairing compound on these. We'll see how far we can get today. I'm not sure, but we'll go as far as we can. I got my handy dandy spatula ready, and this has all been sanded and wiped down with alcohol, so ready for epoxy. All right, that's all I got. We've been doing a lot of repetitious sanding and fairing and sanding and fairing, so I really haven't filmed a lot of that because it's just more and more of the same there. And also, for example, we've been up at the bow and you can see there's a whole piece of deck that we took out up there we haven't put in yet. And we're starting to fix parts of the bow up here, so we've been tabbing this whole section in up here. And moving on to working on this next area and trying to get these bows done. And that includes sealing the decks up over here and such. There was just work that had to go, or we have to create pieces that fill in there. So you can see a little gap up there that we're making a piece in for. So we're just starting to work here, and we're going to start getting that catwalk in. It's prepped up over here. We got a whole bunch of pieces here, and it's been cutting and planning and just getting to the point where we can start, constructing and building things. Also, I've been talking to Schoenig about the design of things like how we do the bowsprit and how we, because that's very interesting. We'll get to that. And also how we're going to do the storm jib mount, which is in the catwalk further back than the mount for the mainsail, which is right on top of the forebeam. So this has been a lot of little fiddly work up here, and there's going to be a lot more. We just have tons and tons of little things to accomplish up here. So we're going to keep at it. We have a few layers of straight epoxy on top of these. And these have to make a rubber seal to make a seal on top of the black and gray water tanks. So now that we've got some resin on here, I'm going to give them a sand, get them nice and flat, and then we probably put another layer of resin on top. These are definitely going to need another coat. You can see that there's tiny little low spots. It's the dark ones there. I could keep sanding down past those, but I think I'll just put another layer of resin, let it level, and hopefully fill those, and then we'll sand again to see how it is. While I'm busy sanding the top and the frame, Brian's over here cleaning out the edges of them. So we got two sandings going on at once here. Okay, so now that these are sanded up, we're gonna clean them up, put another coat on all of these lids, and a new coat on the other side of these frames right now. So I gotta get some alcohol and get clean in here. So while I'm cleaning these, I've been on the emails with Kim over at Raritan, one of our favorite people, and we discussed my next Raritan order. And so what we'll have coming probably, they're still confirming what's going to be in the next order, is our smart controllers for the toilets with a Bluetooth module, so that we don't even have to run wires. The controls for the toilet are all be a Bluetooth control. And besides that, we're also going to be getting our two macerator pumps with a waste valve on them to pump out our black water from the tanks overboard when we're way offshore. The reason we want our macerator pumps is that we want to mount them down in that area that we didn't paint down in the bilges, and so we need those for that. And the reason that we need the water heater soon is because we're trying to work out our engine compartment, and there's only so much space in there because we got to have enough room to work on the engine when it has needs for maintenance or troubles or anything like that. We have to have enough room around it to get in there and work on it. And the water heaters aren't tiny, and so I want to fit that in and see where it's going to go, and also if there's enough room on the other side to put our air conditioning rather than up in the cupboard that we talked about. The problem with it being up in the cupboard is it's going to be louder up there, and it's going to take away cupboard storage. If I could put it down in the engine compartment, it's going to be quieter because it's going to be underneath the soundproofing we put for the diesel engine, and it would not take up cupboard space that we could use for storing whatever we want, food, clothing, you name it. So we need those things, and Raritan is being kind enough to send several orders of stuff for us. That's not the last order. We've got more stuff that we'll be getting from them eventually. Get this rolling, literally rolling. Okay. I really want a pretty thin layer on there. I don't want to have lumps of epoxy, so roll this out pretty thin. And I want it a little bit thicker on these lids because they had some itty bitty low spots. Not real low, but just a little low. And so I want enough epoxy on there to so it'll self-level into those depressions. Saturday, and it's Brian and I today. Jeff had a thing he had to go to. So we're back to work on our inspection port tops, and the latest layer came out very nicely. So I'm going to start working on the frames, and the first thing I got to do is core the outside, and we're going to fill some resin there because this will be inside the tank, and so liquid can get to this edges. So we got to core and fill those. We already did the insides, but we got to do the outsides. And while I'm doing that, Brian is going to sand the tops of these. And they came out very nicely now in this latest round. So I think one more sand and these will be good. All right, so that's the last one. Now we'll just get some thickened epoxy and fix these up. It's getting close to being able to be put into the boat. This was sort of the final piece. Brian's already sanded all the lids. We'll give the frames a sand when this is done. We'll sand these new edges and the tops a little bit. And then we're going to glue these onto the soles. And that means the soles will be ready to go into the boat. Now, when I say go into the boat, I don't mean actually glued down. I mean standing up against the cupboards so that we can put the daggerboard cases into the side, mount them, cut the holes, mount them, glass them, do all that stuff all the time of that sole sitting there. And then once the daggerboard casings are done, we can put glue down on the top and just drop that sole down. So we're getting close to that now. These were the holding us up, sort of, and we're getting close now. All right, we're working on a catwalk, and it's made out of 4 different pieces. We've already cut for the Forebeam earlier in the week, and now we're trying to assemble the box that this is, at least the lower section without the top deck on it. Now we're going to use the top deck to get the spacing right, which is sitting right here, but we only want to glue the bottom 3 pieces together into a shape that we can then glue up. We'd rather do that and then try to glue them one at a time up in the air where the Forebeam is. Now we've laid them out, which we'll show you in a second, but what we found is that up at the front here, we're going to have to bevel the front portion or they can't squeeze in enough. Did we mark this one too? Give it a dry fit, see how it works. We're double checking to make sure that we had to go all the way to that black line, and it turns out we do need to go all the way to that black line. But we thought we would try it short of it first. Okay, I got the plans out, and there's something in the plans that I hadn't seen, and there's just one little picture that shows this. This gets this little thickened epoxy in this triangle there, it goes straight down, and then this comes out, and then it goes straight. And there's a picture in the plans that shows this tip like that. So that tells me that these are supposed to be like this, and this just gets filled, and it'll get less and less filled all the way back to about here, where it meets this. So it'll become a tiny bit here, and slightly wider and wider and wider, filled all the way out to here. And then later, we just cut, after this is all done, we just cut through this whole thing in a slot all the way back about, a meter to 1.5 meters back there, or 1.5 yards. And then a big piece of G10 goes on here, all the way through and inside of here. I'll show you a picture of that here, so you can see where that piece of G10 goes through that has all those slots in it. And they use soft shackles to wrap around for things like our continuous furler out on the end of this bowsprit through those slots with a soft shackle. So that's sort of what that's for. The other thing that gets attached is some stays that go down to support the bowsprit down into the hulls.
So we got a lot of work done on the soles, and we started work on the bow, which is something we've been putting off, focusing mainly on the hulls and the stern of the boat, but we got started on that catwalk this week.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of other things up there that we're working on as well. The actual bows of the two hulls, a whole bunch of pieces have to come together up there, and so we're starting to working that all in and glass parts of it in on the insides of the hull. So there's a ton of work to go still up there, but we decided that it's time to start nibbling bits off of that until it's complete. So you're going to see a lot more work done on the catwalk and on the bows in some of the upcoming videos, but we're going to get that bow of this boat ship shape, and so we're working hard on it, and we've gotten started, and once we get started, we'll get it done.
Yep. So thank you all for watching this week. We appreciate your time and your comments and questions. Thank you to our patrons listed here. We appreciate you. Couldn't do this project without you. And as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and click on the bell icon to be notified of our next video.
And on our next video, we'll get to more work on that catwalk and a few other things. We'll see you then.
Bye.